I'm hitting that refresh button.
Welcome, welcome one and all to Kickin' It Old School. We finally came out with a name. Big shout out to Jenn Wyatt, who actually sent me that name. And we like it. What do you think, Stephen? Kickin' It Old School? Think that's what we should be?
I like it. I like it. I do like it, actually. At the beginning, when I heard it, it sounded like there was a show, I think, on Disney called Kicking It or something like that. They were kids doing karate at a school or something like that, a bunch of nerds, that sort of thing, you know.
Right up my alley, then.
Yeah, pretty much. And hey, how come I got the Battlestar Galactica thing on my side? What's up with that?
Just the way the ships were pointing. They were just pointing, one of them pointing the right way, you know. But hey, I was actually...
I should have the X-Wing, and you should have that.
You know what? And actually, we should ask people in the chat who they think would actually win, a Viper or an X-Wing. I mean, I love the X-Wing, but the turbo and everything, I think the Viper would take the X-Wing, personally.
It might, but I don't know enough about Battlestar Galactica to even know anything. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, just so everyone also knows, like, I am literally outside. It was too nice a day, so if there's like a storm or a heavy rain or wind or a motorcycle, you're going to hear it. Just letting you know right now.
We'll see Glenn whisk away.
It is entirely possible. So I want to thank you all for joining us. You know, the Retro Buzz took a break, so Stephen and I did a little fill-in here for the time slot. We still haven't decided when our show actually will be. Now, we're still kind of finalizing all that stuff, but this is what it's going to be about. Just basically two guys just talking about, you know, different topics, whether it be TV shows or movies, games, experiences.
It could be whatever. Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about the old stuff, but just guys our age, what we do, what we like, what's new, what's coming out, so it'll be a bit of old.
What's funny is, once again, right? I'm still the older guy in this group. I'm still the older guy here.
Yeah, not by much, but yeah. When's your birthday again? Well, not the date, but the year.
69, man, when they landed on the moon. That's right there.
when they supposedly
Oh,
landed on
here
the
we
moon.
go. Here we go. You people in your metric system. If you use feet and inches, you would know we landed on the moon.
Glenn and I were talking about that about 5 minutes before the show. I saw a map of all the countries in the world that did not adopt the metric system, and you see the U.S. is the only one, and then there's Alaska
Actually, I
in the
think I
top
think the Eskimos. I think
left-hand
the
side.
Eskimos haven't adopted anything. So,
No, the Eskimos have adopted the metric. Just you guys haven't.
well, you don't know what.
And
What
then
about Atlantis?
Alaska of all things.
You don't know if Atlantis did.
Oh, that's a
Marvin the
rumor, right?
Martian.
That's
You don't know what he's using.
Speaking of Marvin the Martian, have you watched the new
Actually,
Space Jam
I haven't
movie?
seen the whole thing, but I had to get a pizza last Saturday. My son was having a party with his friends over, and I went to the pizzeria and had the new Space Jam up, on the TV there. And I watched a little bit of it. I guess it was okay. I'm going to admit, I was never a huge fan of the first ones. I mean, they were okay. It was okay.
It was
You
okay,
got to take
but
it for what it is, right?
it was a kid show
Right.
back then, in a sense, right? It wasn't anything to. It's kind of like Dumb and Dumber. Don't read more into Dumb and Dumber. Like I had people with countless philosophical conversations about Dumb and Dumber, and I'm like, look at the title, Dumb and Dumber. Don't read
Right.
into
You
it
got,
more.
you got to turn
you
your brain
know?
off and enjoy it. So it looks like in the chat here we have X-Wing is better than a Silent Raider. So that's Brad O'Connell saying that X-Wing is definitely better than a Silent Raider, and I could agree with that. Actually, I do think a Silent Raider will take a TIE fighter. Those TIE fighters just fall apart like left and right. Um,
I'd have to watch those shows again to really make an educated guess. So I'm at you guys' mercy at this point when it comes to
Well, I was
Battlestar
telling
Galactica.
people that you don't have to watch the whole series. I'm talking the classic BSG, the classic Battlestar Galactica in 1979. You don't have to watch the whole series. Just watch the
You
just
said to
watch
watch
the
the
pilot.
pilot.
If you
We
want to
talked about
compare it
this
to Star
earlier.
Wars New Hope, just watch the pilot. Star Wars came out in 77. Galactica came out in 1978, so a year later on television. But they started working on it because people keep thinking that Battlestar Galactica was a Star Wars ripoff. But the Glenn Larson who did it, did Knight Rider, did all those other shows.
Oh
Right.
yeah, Glenn Larson.
Right, you
he's
think
a
know where
genius,
Kit got his eye
practically.
from? It came from the Cylons. That's where Kit has his eye that goes back and forth came from the Cylons. But Battlestar
Oh
Galactica
yeah.
was being worked on in the 60s, well before Star Wars, but it was called something different. I think it was called the Space Ark. It's supposed to be like, Noah's Ark in space. So it did change over the years,
Gotcha.
but it definitely, like the Black Hole. People also said Black Hole was a Star Wars ripoff. This
I like
did
that
the
as a kid.
ending, the last
It's
6 minutes or so was a little bit weak. But again, it was worked
It was
on
okay.
long before Star Wars came out. And I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not a Kathleen Kennedy fan, but I will say that a lot of stuff in Star Wars was ripped off from Flash Gordon, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
So people think that people ripped off Star Wars. He ripped off a lot of people first as well. So
They all ripped each other off. It's like they all borrow ideas, and it's kind of like what was it? You would know this because Cole is around that age where they had the Zoo movie, animated 3D movie, and then
Oh.
they had a similar movie, literally like a few months
Yeah, that was
after
with
that
Alex
was
the Lion?
released, and they were.
they had Alex the
I
Lion.
forget what
Okay,
it
what's the
was.
name of the movie, people? With Alex the Lion was in there, and Hippopotamus, and the giraffe.
Well,
Madagascar. There we go.
No, but there was a movie that was similar to that, and you're kind of like, well, these people totally
Oh,
ripped each other
they
off.
do. They
You know
do
what I mean? Like-
do that. I mean, you get those direct-to-DVD movies.
Oh, in the 80s, it was really bad with the horror
Yeah.
movies.
Actually, you know what? I
Oh,
didn't
my
see
God.
the Terminator in the theater. 1984 Terminator. I didn't see it in the theater. I kept waiting
Me
for it
neither.
to be on
I was too
HBO.
young.
And there was a show on called The Exterminator. I'm like, I'm not thinking, that's got to be it. I put it on.
It's the ex-wife
Yeah,
Terminator.
it was.
The
Yeah, it
Terminator's
was like a
ex-wife.
B grade, B grade movie. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't no Terminator.
They were getting rid of bugs.
That's-
That's what it was. The exterminator.
So-
yeah, I'll
So
be back.
We could talk a little Kathleen Kennedy here because I'm hearing there's a.
Oh God, she gives me.
well, she
nightmares,
does,
that
but
woman.
there's been.
The only woman that gives me nightmares is that one right there. I see her on TV,
When-
and I just
when is
start
the last time you've
curling
seen
up
her?
into well, seen her a photo because you watch Doomcock there, Overlord DVD.
Yep. So there's been a lot of rumors again.
Okay.
She's been MIA for quite some time.
she's screwing up Indiana Jones. Apparently, those rumors are flying
Yeah.
there.
Well, she has to screw up one more thing before she
My,
heads out.
I have to tell you a little story. Actually, my son, for those who know this Doomcock guy or whatever, my son I was watching the whole Kathleen Kennedy rumor mill, what that guy does. My son comes walking in, and he's like, "What is this, Dad?" That guy's weird because he wears that mask and he's got that
Yep.
character in a
Yep.
in a bottle.
It's like a milk
glass
carton he
floaty
cut up and made a
thingy.
face out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And then my son's like, "Oh, wow." And then he just leaves. He was just sort of, flabbergasted. I was like, well, I made an impression on my son.
Well, I take my hat
suppose.
off, Jim, because I was there when he had like 5 subs, and now he's got like 200,
Oh yeah, same here.
266,000
Yep.
subs. So I take my hat off, and I do like the show. He's got Harvey, Cthulhu, in the jar, right?
Cthulhu.
So I mean, that's a
Yeah.
really good show. And
What's it? What's the full name? Doomcock. What is it again?
what's just Emperor? I thought it was just Emperor Doomcock, Overlord DVD.
No. He has an elaborate name or whatever.
I don't know.
What is it? The future
Oh, he's the
ruler
future.
of
He's
the
down
earth.
in the center of the earth right now. I'm
Yeah,
coming to
yeah.
you live from the center of the earth.
What is it? It's not Doctor Doom, but
Dr.
it's
Doomcock.
something Doomcock. No. He has this elaborate whatever. I forget what it is. It's just funny, actually. It's a big long name, basically.
Oh, we have Michael B.
I enjoy his content. I don't care where he gets his stuff from, but he seems to
He
dig up
does.
stuff that holds somewhat true. Sometimes it's crap, but
Well, he
it's
tells
like,
you. He
it's
tells you,
entertainment, right?
it's potentially just rumor, so take it, with a grain of salt. He says it every time.
Yeah,
And there's probably
absolutely,
some disinformation out there, but a lot of stuff he had said did come to fruition. It has.
Yep.
And I'm really hoping the latest, where Kathleen Kennedy's at the end of her reign, that she doesn't pull a Emperor Palpatine Sneak Attack Episode 9 comeback in like a year. Like, it says,
Oh, they better not. They have to say
Right.
goodbye to that person. They have to say, okay, you're done. You know what I mean? It's
Now, there is one huge fan of Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, huge. I'm talking almost in the part of, being crazy, and that's Nostalgia. Nostalgia absolutely
What?
loves Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, loves. I mean, he's got pictures of her all over his room. No joke. Michael B. Michael B. The game genius in here. He can confirm it. Nostalgia loves.
It's Dictor Van Doomcock.
Oh, Dictor.
Is his name. Dictor, not
Dictor.
Victor. as in
Dictor.
V.
Dictor Van Doomcock. Well,
Van
it
Doomcock.
was originally called just Doomcock the channel, and then YouTube was saying they would take his channel down. You had to change to Overlord DVD because of that.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
originally he was called Doomcock.
That's funny.
What else we got going here?
So I hope everybody likes the graphic design of the TVs and
Yes,
the monitor
that literally
and all that
took
stuff.
Stephen 8 months to put together. He's working
What?
on this since 2000. And we finally got it going here.
Good Lord, man. Anyways, it was done quickly due to some management issues, but we
No,
won't talk about
No,
that
but
stuff.
this is gonna be the format. Just me and you talking. Maybe we'll have a guest on at some point, but really it's just gonna be you and I just keeping the old school
You
stuff.
know what? It's basically keeping a pulse on the
Yep.
stuff we like, the stuff that's out there now, the stuff that we remember, all of it. It's just we're children of the '80s. Not that we're gonna just talk
Or
about
the
the '80s
70s.
and the good
Or
old
70s,
days
yeah.
and yeah, well, '70s. I was too young to remember that. I was born in '70.
You're a baby.
And I was just a wee lass, and yeah, it was just I don't know. It's I think there was a lot of stuff, and you and I talked about this a couple times over the phone, and about shows we
Yes.
remember better than they really
Oh
were.
yeah. I mean, you know what the biggest one is for that?
And,
Honestly, as a kid, I
one
used
was
to
for you?
love the Muppet Show. I used to love the Muppet Show.
That's always
No,
that's a
go back
classic.
and look at it, man. It's painful. I mean, it's like really. I watched this.
I could watch
I mean,
some
there's a couple
of it.
good skits here and there, but overall, it's ultimate cringy. You look back and like, oh my god, I can't feel like that as a kid.
with Mark Hamill that
Oh,
showed
that
up
was
and
it
everything.
was horrible. Go back and look at it. Go back.
It's on Disney Plus, isn't it? Don't they own the
I
rights?
don't know,
to
but
that?
it did not age well,
I
man.
think
I don't
so.
know what I must have been sugared up as a
Most
kid.
stuff doesn't age well. Most things don't age well, Glenn.
Well, that's true.
it's-
That's true.
Like, okay, give me. I'll tell you what. This is an interesting topic. Give me a TV show that either you were denied as a kid, meaning your mom went, "Hey, go to bed," and you were like, "Please, please, 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 please," and then the thing maybe have gotten taken off the air as a child, and then you never saw it again because recorded TV shows weren't a
Right.
thing and they were not available. So give me your your show that you went, "Oh my God, I wanted to watch that," and then you actually
You are
watched
going to
it and
make me
went,
sound
"Holy
like a
crap, what was
horrible,
I
horrible
thinking?"
person because as a kid, I got to watch. I got to
That's
watch
my
whatever I
job.
wanted to watch. I never happened to me. I, I am not
You're
kidding.
kidding.
So for
I came from a not a really hard disciplinary household, but you know, it's my when it was time to go to bed, it was time to go to bed around 8 or 9 o'clock as a eight
oh,
year
it's
old,
9 o'clock.
7 year old,
9 o'clock. So I guess in that respect, Battlestar Galactica was on at 9 p.m. on ABC when it originally aired
Okay.
for its first season. So I guess, yeah, I do remember coming home from a party, and it was like 5 minutes into the premiere of the 2 hour episode, which started at like 8 o'clock. Had to go
You
to
had to go
bed.
to bed.
So, and that one I'll give it to you. That's something that did happen that one time, and I begged, please look at that. It's like Star Wars. See, I'm doing it myself. And she's like, nope, it's time for bed. You got to go. So I didn't see the first episode of
Yep.
Battlestar Galactica for like 12 years. I went to a video store, and they had the movie because it did go in the movie in certain territories, and that's the only time I finally got to saw the original pilot of Battlestar Galactica. How about you?
Well, I see Mike in there. He's talking about like his friend was a Mormon and stuff like that. It's like, wow. For me, I'll tell you what it
Oh,
was.
Jenn was
And
Dukes of Hazzard. How can you
it,
not watch Dukes of Hazzard?
my parents, I think my dad was into the car thing, so he was like, yeah, 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 let them watch it. There's cops
Daisy
and
Dukes. That's the whole
people
thing.
chasing.
Daisy Dukes. Wearing the Daisy Dukes.
That's exactly it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let them watch the cars. I'm gonna watch Daisy Duke there. Let the kids
On my
stay
nice
up.
little
Yeah.
10-inch black
But
and
for
white
me,
GE
I'll tell you
TV.
what it was. I'll tell you what it was. It was Spider-Man.
Oh, the TV show, the live action one.
The TV show. When I was a kid, I loved Spider-Man, the whole nine yards. And this live action TV show was
Yep.
there was
Yep.
commercials, they were promoting it and everything else. And then when it came and it was like time to watch it, I got to watch 10 minutes and it was like, okay, time for bed. I'm like, no. And then essentially the show
Yes.
got canceled, I think. I forget,
Yeah,
8
well,
episodes in
it
or
wasn't
whatever.
actually a series. They wanted to do a series. At least here in the States, they made movies. Took a couple episodes, made like movies that came out certain time of the year, like every quarter. They wanted a series, but they didn't have the enough of the viewership of the Nielsen ratings or whatever. So
Well, this was the series because I actually downloaded them
Right.
later and was
yeah, it was a guy. It was like a
greatly
rope, right? He was
disappointed.
his webbing.
It was
yeah,
totally a rope.
yeah,
And they actually had dudes hanging
Yes.
down from the side of the building,
Yes, they did.
hardcore, like
yep.
with a steel
Yep.
cable, and it's like, oh, we dropped the
Yep.
actor down.
But it
there.
wasn't.
Oh, sorry.
It wasn't
We get
actually
another
like
actor.
a weekly series. Maybe they did it in Canada. Maybe it got rerun there that way. But the original run was
I
they
don't know.
had like mini, like specials of the month movies, and that would be
Yeah,
his
yeah.
show that would show it. And it did fairly well that way, but it just wasn't enough to get a series going. Especially like you said, this guy's climbing down a real building with like a rope, looking like a web. He's really doing it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
dangerous.
it was a big rope. I mean, this thing was like, an inch round practically, and it shot out of his wrist, man. It was like that. Or
But
his
think of
ass,
it, they did. You had
whatever.
Spider-Man back then. They did have the Hulk, Lou Ferrigno as the
Yep.
Hulk. So they
Cryotech's talking about the cartoons too. We'll talk about that too.
where they had
That's
like one
interesting
frame of
stuff.
animation. Thor, he's like this, and then he talk for 5 minutes, and he's like
Yeah,
that.
pretty much. There was some bad stuff back then.
That was from
Yep.
the 60s and 50s, though. That's the older. That was reruns for even me.
Where they had the same background
Yep.
over and over again,
Yep.
like Spider-Man again. It was like the same background scrolling by, and you're like,
The first
okay.
Spider-Man show
You know?
I really got into was the Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, I'd seen
Yes,
Spider-Man
from the
before.
90s.
No, it was in the 80s. It was Spider-Man. I'm sorry. It
Well, the
was
one from
Spider-Man and
Fox.
His Amazing Friends. It was Firestarter, Iceman, and
Oh,
him.
yes. Okay,
Right.
that's a
That was the
different
first one
yeah.
I really had gotten into over the very 2 frames of animation old ones.
Yeah.
But you know
Yep.
what? You know what my favorite show is?
Yeah.
They could bring back, and they have not. Thundar the Barbarian. That was a great
Thundar
show.
the Barbarian.
Do you know that?
I'd have to watch that again because it doesn't ring a bell for me because growing up in Canada in a bilingual home speaking French and English, it was a different set
sure.
of shows there too.
Well,
right?
what was
So-
good about Thundar, this was pre government getting in there saying you have to do educational programming. So it was a free for all. You could do whatever you want to kids' little minds, up until Thundar got off the air, and then they kind of changed it. So what happened with Thundar was, they had Conan the Barbarian, you had these type of huge characters. So they said, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have this comet. It's gonna go between the Earth and the Moon, and it actually rips the moon in half. And it's in our time.
Okay.
And that causes tidal waves and earthquakes. We're like almost wiped out. So it's now 2,000 years in the future, and now magic is back.
Okay.
So you have super science and magicians ruling and trying to vie for what's left of the planet, and the past is forgotten.
That could be.
That's
a
what I'm
good
saying.
movie too,
And the past was forgotten. So this one guy's name is Thundar, who was like a Conan type of character, but on his arm he had a weapon. He'd pull it off. It's just a hilt, but it would turn into like a lightsaber. It was basically a lightsaber. And then he had.
Did he have a ghost character?
He had
That's what.
No,
Brad O'Connell. Isn't that E-Man had a?
He had Orko.
Orko.
So, but in Thundar, he had a sorceress. I think her name was Ariel.
Sun Sword against the forces of
and
evil.
then in Ukla the monk,
Polo.
which was Chewbacca. Yeah. So it was they did totally rip off on that. But for a kid's show, you're like 3, 4 years old watching a show. Your civilizations, they're showing getting wiped out. Everyone's like done. And you have these wizards, and once in a while they would time travel back, and you would see how Earth used to be, and then you go into the future, and everyone's living like almost like Planet of the Apes. So it was dark, and it was good.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to borrow that off the internet.
The episodes are there.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Hollywood Prolo got it right.
That sounds.
Glenn raises his sun sword. Yeah, against the force of evil. So I would say if you've never seen Thundar, again, you got to take it for what it was. It was still Hanna. It was still Hanna-Barbera.
So Mike Hawk's asking me something here. Do you remember Bebe Fuck? Bebe Fuck means baby seal, but I do not remember that. I remember a show. This is for French Canadians that are maybe part of our audience here. There was an anime that was converted only in French from Japan, and in there was 2 of them. There was Albator, which was this sailor space guy with the big ship.
That sounds like Space Ghost. Brad O'Connell said, I think, that in your Space Ghost.
Is that what it was called? But anyways, the one that I liked was a show in French called Goldorak, which was I forget what it was. I'll have to figure out the Japanese English translation. It's a big robot with a guy in its head, and he has arms that shoots rockets and arms that spin and all that stuff. No, it never got converted to English.
So it's not Gundam. It's not Voltron.
No, I'll have to let me.
There's an awful lot of movies with giant robots and people becoming parts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's basically Gold Orak, but I don't know what it is. Okay, it's called Gandizer. Anyways, it's basically it's
just one of your metric shows. It's just like a metric show.
It's a metric show. Yes, it's all about. Here, I'll send you an image, a link, Glenn. I'll send it to you through the Facebook Messenger, so at least you could see, what I'm talking about. Anyways, that character, it was really cool.
Oh, I've seen this guy
back then. Yeah, I don't know if you could put that up on the screen so people.
I might be able to. Let me see if I can do it. Keep talking.
Yeah. So basically, anyways, it was all in French. It was it was all converted over to just French. And you try to find this thing in English, it does not exist. It's kind of like Battle of the Planets, where stuff got converted from
G-Force. G-Force, right? Yes.
G-Force. In Japan, it was called Gatchaman or whatever. And I watched that religiously.
We all did.
Battle of the Planets. Oh my God! It was like after school. It was like the TV's mine. If my dad was watching something, it's like get off, or I'd bug to go. I'd watch it in black and white in my room if I had to. You know what I mean? So it was interesting. So interesting stuff for sure. I'm trying to keep dibs on the chat. I'm not.
Keep going. I almost got the picture. Keep going.
Yeah. So, anyways, those were some of that stuff. I'd like to hear from from the crowd was those cartoons. Now, some of these were on Saturday mornings, some of them were after school, like Hercules. You remember the Mighty
Oh yeah.
Hercules? Apparently, that was a Canadian-made
Okay, wait.
show
Here you
that
go.
got subsidized in
Here's
the
the
U.S. and
guy Stephen's talking about right here.
is really tiny in the upper
He's bigger
left-hand
now.
corner.
He
Okay.
got excited. He's gotten bigger. He's excited now.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So basically, that character, there's a dude in its head sitting on a chair and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's I don't know if anybody remembers this stuff, but yeah, G-Force and Gotcha Man were those cartoons that you watched and religiously. I never watched Speed
I
Racer.
watched it a little bit.
Brad popped that in there. It's
How
I
about
don't know.
Catch That Pigeon? Did you ever hear that one? Catch
No.
that pigeon, catch that pigeon. It was Dick Dastardly, Muttley. That was like their first show, if you know who they are.
No, was that
It
a
was
Hanna-Barbera thing,
Hanna-Barbera,
or?
and then they went into
Oh yeah, that sounds just like it when they had all these
yes.
weird names.
Yeah, it
like,
was a fun show.
like that chump Yogi Bear.
Yes.
You know, and
Yep.
Flintstones.
Then they had the wacky races where they take same thing. So
Yes.
Hanna-Barbera, I mean, they're still around. Think about it. How many of these animation, Filmation is gone. The He-Man and stuff like that. They're gone.
Yeah. There was Ghostbusters made by Filmation. It wasn't the Ghostbusters
No,
from
actually,
movies. It was
It kind of
Ghostbusters,
was.
a different thing altogether.
Filmation actually owned the original Ghostbusters. And that was the cartoon they did with the gorilla. They originally
right.
owned it. And then I forgot it. Something happened when they got the rights, or they thought they had the rights. And Filmation goes, "Oh no! For animation, we still got the rights because it's ours." And that's why they couldn't use Ghostbusters they had to call it the real Ghostbusters. They had to change the title. But even though Ghostbusters is
interesting.
the real Ghostbusters, because that's the company who had the title originally. There was a
yeah.
TV show, by the way, in the '60s called Ghostbusters, and it was a guy. It was a monkey, but a guy in a monkey suit. But that was live action.
Yeah.
So that Filmation cartoon was based off the actual Ghostbusters live action that they had done in the early '60s.
Well, they did a lot of rotoscoping back then, where they take a person and they
Yes.
trace the animation. In He-Man,
And it was expensive.
That
That's why you only had like
basically.
5 different angles, and they just kept reusing those 5 different angles because that was not cheap.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like, so the reason this all came up with the whole cartoon bit is I've been trying to go through Netflix and find these old TV shows and stuff like that. And let's stick away from the cartoons for a second here.
I
What-
prefer the word
Let me
animation.
ask you that-
I'm an adult here. I'm an adult.
Animation,
you know.
sure.
I don't watch cartoons. I watch
Yes.
animation.
Cartoons and cereal in the morning. That Saturday mornings, you pick the sugariest cereal you can find, and that's why we have all diabetes now. And then basically we watch the cartoons
Cookie
in front
Crisp.
of the TV. Yeah, exactly. We had the roll there. We made a mess, and our parents would get up from sleeping in and be all pissed off at us for making a mess in the living room with the cereal. But what? Okay, so let me ask you this: was there anything late at night that you remember as a kid watching
Oh
that
man.
you would watch that maybe nobody else watched? I'll tell
Shoot.
you what mine was. I used to watch. Okay. This originated in New York, a New York channel from the U.S. It was called Cat's Pajamas, and there was these old Shaw Brothers kung fu
Really?
movies. My dad and I used to stay up till like midnight, 2 a.m. to watch these bad dubbed English dubbed kung fu movies. Oh yeah, Bleu Nuit. Mike, I'm sorry, but Mike just reminded me of something called Bleu Nuit.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a second. It's funny. I like Mike already. So basically, these kung fu movies, there were Shaw Brothers kung fu movies. Return to the 36 Chamber, The Flying Guillotine, all these bad, like, the lips are moving, and you know what I mean? Like, essentially, oh yeah, Invincible
that's great.
Is that the
Yeah, it's
animated
on
show?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
It's
very good.
fantastic.
Yes. Very, very good. I enjoyed that tremendously. But the Shaw Brothers, they're great. If you ever get a chance, Glenn, go on. I don't know if you
I
have
do
Netflix
actually.
or
I
not,
actually broke down and spent $8.
okay, watch a movie called Return to the 36 Chamber. There's a bit of
Okay.
comedy in there, and there's I won't say a great story, but it's pretty cool, and it's awesome. It's this actor he's in a lot of these movies called Gordon Liu or Lau. I forget what it is. Great movies. Like, and I watch those on Cat's Pajamas. It's an NBC station, but
Really?
at
I've never heard of it.
midnight or 2 a.m. they'd air
I'm in New
these
York.
bad
I've
kung
never
fu
heard of
movies.
this.
Rochester, more or less, in that area.
Was it? Were you picking up
So it
through
was
rabbit ears?
it
Was it
was a guy.
antennas?
No, it was through cable, but it was like a uh, you know how cable they'll
Sure.
subsidize whatever. But it was an NBC channel, if I recall, or ABC, I forget. And it was called Cat's Pajamas. If you Google Cat's Pajamas, it was like a late show,
Is it
and
like
this
when I
one
Google Thunderstick?
guy.
Am I going to find the same type of thing?
Uh, maybe not. Yeah, that sounds a little weird, but I never Googled this actually. The Cat's Pajamas. Oh yeah, you get all kinds of crap now, but I'll maybe put NBC or maybe there's something on Google
Well,
anyways. WGRZ, that's what it
okay.
is. WGRG, the cat Barry Lillis. If you there's a YouTube thing, that dude, he'd promote these, not promote, but he'd introduce these old kung fu movies where the lips are moving,
Yeah,
the typical
yeah. I know what you're talking
stereotypical
about.
bad dubbing.
Yeah, sure.
And there was I got introduced to all these crazy kung fu movies, and they would air at the theater in China or whatever, but they'd air a couple of years later in the U.S. or on TV and on there, and it was awesome. And I saw them on Netflix just recently, and I watched them, and they're perfectly restored, but they took the crappy English dub track and shoved it into Netflix. It's
That's the only way
awesome.
to watch that stuff. To
It's
be
pretty.
quite honest,
Oh yeah,
we
you
used
gotta
to have
watch
Kung
it,
Fu
Glenn.
Theater.
The best one
That was
is
Saturdays and Sundays on Channel 5 here, Fox.
it's probably the
It
same
probably
thing.
is, but I used to love Kung Fu Theater going on, man. And it was like the worst dubbing, and even the Kung Fu was kind of ridiculous. But as a kid,
Oh, everybody's your brother.
yeah,
You remember that? Like, brother. And you're like, well, that dude doesn't look like you, but you've called about 5 guys your brothers. I was like, okay, sure. Maybe that's what they do in Asia and China. I don't know. When you're 13 years old, you don't know the Asian culture. You're like, okay, maybe everybody there is a brother. I don't know. But it was pretty funny. It was interesting. What's
well,
your
late at
thing?
night. Well,
Late
late at
at
night, the
night.
first thing when I was really young, I used to hear like the Twilight Zone, and it really used to freak me out. I mean, we're talking like
Oh, really?
midnight. I had my little GE 9-inch black and white TV set, and you watch that, man. That used to freak me the heck out, especially if it was like the episode with
Was it black and white, or did they have a
well
newer version of it? The
the
black and
original
white
black and white
series?
series on a black and white TV. Because back then I had a old GE,
Me
black and
too.
white TV set, which I would love. If anyone's got
That's
an
all
old
I could
TV set
afford.
like that, I want it, man. Hit me up. I want to get one of those old TVs. But that used to freak me out.
Oh, black and white TV that you can't watch
Well,
anything on.
yeah, it's just nostalgia. It's against that nostalgia.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then
Yeah,
later,
yeah,
when I got
sure.
older and I was working, get home. I used to get home at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And at 2 a.m. on Channel 11 was reruns of Space 1999. I love Space 1999. And it was so funny. This is a true God truth story. So I used to come home. I'd catch, maybe miss the first couple minutes, but I'd watch it night after night. And then one night it was off the air. And the next night it was off the air. I'm like, what the hell? So I actually called Channel 11. And I'm like,
You
excuse
called
me,
them?
I was watching the show Space 1999 and I'm up at 2 o'clock and it's not on the air
It's
anymore.
gone.
Next thing I knew, not only was it back on at 2 a.m., number one, they showed like during the day, like they were trying it out like Saturdays, like on 3 o'clock. That didn't work out. But no joke. They took it off the schedule on TV Guide. I called, and the stupid show got back on the air for like another year. And I just thought that was, oh my God, I got the show put back on the air.
You did it, Glenn. I want a protest. My name is Glenn, and I want that damn show on the
Nielsen
air
rating
again.
of
I'm writing
1
letters.
worked on that one time.
That's hilarious, man. I've never done that. I lived in the Great White North, and I was there. I had no access to that stuff. It was all fed from cable and satellite from the U.S., right? So it was just like, okay, it's off the air. Not much we could do. Sorry, and that was it. So I'm going to tell you what Bleu Nuit was. Okay, so so I'm laughing my butt off because Mike Hawk is talking about Bleu Nuit. So the French channel. The French are a little bit more liberal in their programming.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
just say that. So, as a kid, when you're a teenager and you're allowed to stay up late, right? So you're flipping through the channels when there's nothing on, and on Saturday night, you're flipping through the channels. Next thing you know, there's porn
Huh?
going on,
You got my attention now. What?
and you're like, "What?" He's like, "What? What?" And we're like, "What the hell's this?" And then you're looking around to see if your parents are up, and it's not like the internet now where it rains porn on the internet, right? But essentially, this literally there was porn, dude,
Wait,
at like
this is
1 a.m.
This is
middle
on
of the night.
cable though. It's not broadcast TV.
On
Okay.
cable. Yeah, yeah, no, but it was a French, I think Montreal
Well,
channel
how
or
does the
whatever.
French really
And you're
qualify porn? I mean, what are we talking about here?
well, I don't I don't think it was triple X stuff, but I'm
Is it like the
talking,
teasing porn? We can't
you
really
know.
see anything. They keep making you think you can see something.
Oh no, 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 no. There was some enough to go. Oh crap! Where are my parents? Close the door, close the curtains, kind of
Get
thing.
that
It's
pie.
like
Where's that apple
at 13,
pie?
14 years old, you were like, oh shit, you know.
How did we get
And
from
you were caught
cartoons
off
to
guard
porn, Stephen? How did we
because
make
I'll
this
tell you.
transition from cartoons to
No, but I'll
porn?
tell you. Yeah, we went from cartoons to porn. One shot. There you go. But yeah, I'll tell you how it would come to be, because after you were done on Saturday night watching Saturday Night Live, as you do as a teenager, right? You would flip through the other channels, and you were like, how come there's two people having sex here right now? Whoa, 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 whoa. And oh, okay, I'll leave it on.
And it's not
Leave
wavy.
it
It's
on,
not
you
like
know.
you can't see. It's scrambled.
Oh no, no, no. It was, yeah, we're kicking it old school and smoking old school.
Who said that?
That's funny. Mike,
Got to get
that's
that pie
funny.
or that
Yeah,
sock.
yeah.
One of the two.
So there's Mike Hawk, Tail, and Hertz. I don't know which one's which. There's two. I don't know if it has two accounts or whatever. But anyways, that's what happened. After Saturday Night Live, you're flipping through the channels, and next thing you know, there's people having sex, and you're like,
Best
oh.
we had was
So
Skinemax.
there was no
You had
internet then.
Cinemax at like after like 2 a.m. became
Yeah, but
Skinemax.
in the U.S., but up here, there was the Super Channel, which is movies, and that's it. There was no other stuff after midnight. But it was like unbelievable, man. It was like when you were a kid, you were just blown away that that stuff was on. And then at school, you'd show up at school. Hey, did you see that at 2 a.m. on this channel? And everybody'd be like, yeah. And it was kind of like hush hush at high school. It's pretty funny. So that was Bleu Nuit, guys. It's the Canadian 2 a.m. porn channel or
Interesting.
whatever. I forget what channel it was
Yeah,
actually.
because we all had,
exactly
as
on,
kids,
but
the old cable boxes. There were like 13 buttons you press down and a slider. And if you pressed 3 or 4 down at the same time, it almost locked in. And you kind of, it was like one of those, you kind of trying to make out what's going on over there. You keep shaking your head to see what's happening. But kids, that's all we had back then. You have it so easy.
is that the
Yeah,
scrambling? Is that what it was?
yeah,
It
the
was
scramble
scrambled?
channel.
You can hear
Yes.
the audio. You
Yes.
can hear the audio. Oh,
Yep.
there's some.
Oh, I
something
see an
going
eye.
on there.
There's an
I
eye
think it's
there.
something.
All right. Oh, I think that's an eye. Oh my God, I hope
I
that's
think
an
I
eye.
saw a piece of butt. I think I saw a butt.
But yeah,
I am.
yep,
Maybe
we
that was a
lived,
boob. No, that was
kids,
just a
we lived in the
scrambling
dark
thing.
ages back then. The dark ages.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So the adventures of back then, it was just like Mike said, at Bleu Nuit, it was like. So I don't know how many Canadians are in the chat or whatever, but it was just. It's kind of interesting to hear the people in chat what they watched and then what we watched, and the progression. But I used to, on Friday nights as a teenager, it was Friday night videos.
Oh yeah, music
Oh
videos,
man,
right?
that was all music videos, and I got my dose of music there. I would go from that to Columbia House and order tapes.
Columbia House. Oh,
Basically.
you were part of the cult.
I was part of the cult because by the time they doggy sledded tapes and records up to where I lived, it was expensive. So Columbia House was a bargain. It was a hell of a deal. So yeah, Friday night videos.
Oh,
the best,
here's one.
you know?
Orlando. I was going back to some of the chat. Mighty Mouse. Remember Mighty
Yeah,
Mouse?
yeah, sure.
Here I come to save the day.
Oh yeah, but I didn't see a lot of that. It was on the air, but it was almost like it came and went as
Really?
quickly as it
How
showed
about
up.
Captain
but
Caveman? You had some
Yeah,
Captain
in
Caveman
Canada
up there?
anyways.
Yeah, Barrett O'Connell with Captain Caveman.
Yes. Yep, Captain Caveman. That's part of he was on Flintstones
That's
too.
where he
Wasn't he part
started.
of that
Yeah,
universe?
it is where he started. Yes. And then he got
Yeah, yeah,
frozen.
I
He
remember
got
that.
frozen. It was Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels, I think, for a while.
Oh my
He'd
goodness.
come back up. Then he had his son. It was Captain Caveman and son. Yeah,
Oh really? Oh, you're remembering way
yeah.
more
My
than
memory's
I did.
bad nowadays, but back then, it's all burned into my memory.
Captain
Yeah, and that's the
Caveman.
thing. Even Scooby had Scrappy Doo before he became like a loser. He's
That's right.
Scrappy Doo. You had to have a
Yep.
sidekick. Oh, Blue Falcon and Dynamite.
Oh goodness, you're remembering way more than me at this point because on Saturday mornings, what would I watch? I would watch that French show, that robot show, Goldorak or whatever. But there was Flintstones and there was some new stuff. They made a Back to the Future
That was
cartoon
in the
too, the
90s,
Pac-Man
though.
one.
That
Was it 90s?
That was
The
in
Back
the
to the
early
Future one?
90s.
Really?
Yeah.
I was still watching cartoons.
I used to love the
Oh,
X-Men.
animation. Sorry.
The X-Men, the animated series was on Fox in the 90s. Loved it.
That and the Spider-Man
I didn't see
one.
the Spider-Man one.
Oh, it was so good. The Fox Spider-Man to me was the best Spider-Man animated. The original 60s, 70s one with the
Right.
same background was pretty good, but the Fox animated Spider-Man, oh, it was so good.
I know
So
MTV
good.
had a CGI one. I saw like an episode here and there.
Yes. And you know who did the
No.
voice for that? Doogie Howser.
Really?
Neil Patrick
Really?
Harris. Yep. I think I think he did it for that one. He was the voice of Spider-Man. And then there was another one later that it was the guy from Jake and Josh. Drake
Oh, yeah, my
Bell,
son I think watched them.
that's or
Yeah.
whatever. He did the voice of another Spider-Man later on, and whatnot. So it was. I'd watch as many superheroes as much as possible, I guess. But but yeah, basically that's.
Super
But
Friends.
on the video game side of things, it's. I was all over the map with video games. in
Well,
the
there was a lot
80s.
of systems.
all
There was a
over
lot
the
of
place.
systems out there, and
Arcade machines, all that stuff was coming out. It was all new, and the arcade at my little town, they didn't get stuff right away. So 6 months later we get whatever game. Sometimes it was a little sooner, but 2, 3 months later, then we didn't really know the arcade scene much. The information didn't flow as quickly as
Right.
it does now. You remember that? Like, just the fact of, like, oh goodness, the Atari's coming out. And it was more like a rumor versus, or you saw
well,
it
the
in a
weird thing
catalog.
was I was 10, so it was 1978-ish, and there was a
Ultraman.
video store that opened up in town, and I switched the guy to work there. So I was working like doing boxes and stuff. So that I had the in. I saw when the Atari rep used to come in with the chips. You had to put in the cartridge.
Oh, yeah, well, you're
so
lucky
I
then.
knew. I even saw a prototype of the Atari Cosmos. If you know what that is.
Is that the rare cartridge that's like stupid
Well,
money
it was there.
and
It was a
whatever?
portable handheld system that took
Oh no,
it took
I'm thinking of something
cartridges,
else.
but the cartridges
Yeah.
were holograms. Atari spent like $2 billion to buy the patents on holograms, and they were going to do all these games.
Oh,
But
really?
it was really just like 12 LEDs, and you just put a hologram over it. So it wasn't anything like a Game Boy. So that's why it
Oh,
didn't come
gotcha.
out. But I saw it, and the hologram looked kind of nice. And if I had actually gotten the one the guy brought in there, it'd be like the only one in the world.
You'd
Yeah.
be a trillionaire
Yep.
at this point.
That's why I had gotten my original.
Glenn, what am I going to do with you, man? You
No,
don't see
I was
these
there as a kid.
opportunities.
I had in my hands. I got from them. I had the original Intellivision keyboard component, not the crappy ECS one, the one with the tape drive built in.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
only like 2,000 in existence right now. I had one,
Yeah.
and I sold it for like a motorcycle.
Oh well, that's the right.
Well,
thing
as a
to do
kid
right
it was,
there.
but now looking back, it was dumb.
Oh, I love my motorcycle, my motocross bike when I used to race. Pretty awesome. But yeah, the video game, the news didn't
No.
travel quick. You remember that where you were like, Pac-Man's coming for the Atari 2600.
Commercials.
And it was like months and months and more months as far as
You had to basically wait for a TV
Before it
commercial
came out
or
again
an
or
ad
whatever.
in the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you found out. Pretty much until like ColecoVision came out. The early '80s, they started having gaming magazines. Then you had Electronic Gaming Monthly came out.
even then. Yeah, even then it was just slow anything. You know what I mean? It was just sort of like there wasn't like information like there is
No,
now. Now you could I relied on magazines, like just magazines like subscriptions and stuff. And even then that was about a month or two back in the sense of
right,
news and
right.
write-ups and stuff like that. I remember stuff was coming out for the Commodore 64 or whatever, the Amiga, and you got it in the magazine, and by the time you got the magazine in your hands, it was like a month
Yep.
later almost. By the time the mail system, it's not as
Your
efficient as it
postman
is
had to read it
now, but
first. They got to slide it. They got to slide it back in
yeah,
the
yeah,
bag.
basically.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Yep. Well, that's the thing, right? It's nowadays it's people take it for granted, but back then it was nuts. It was just take it forever to get
Yep.
any information, and it was like seeing a unicorn or
Or
something.
if your
It
friend
was just
got
like
a
sometimes stuff was
console, like you never even heard of, like the ColecoVision when that first came out. I mean, I had gotten one because it's me, of course. But a lot of people, when I just go in someone's house and what's
yep.
that? And it's always a ColecoVision, and that mind's just blown because you haven't seen anything like that before.
Oh yeah, you see the graphics then, and like even if you compared it everything that was out back then, the ColecoVision was
Yep.
eons ahead. The controller sucked, but just the
Yep.
graphics and the sound
If the
and
crash
everything
didn't
else.
happen, I could still see ColecoVision going up against the NES. I could see that it had the capability to do that.
If you added the Super Game module or a similar product to the front of it or an expansion to, yeah, totally, I could see that. But there was probably not enough data lines on the pins on the cartridges to give it that extra oomph, if you
Well,
will.
they always find a way. They always
But
find a way.
yeah,
Look, the Ataris. They're still making cartridges that work in there that push the limit well beyond.
yeah,
And the
exactly.
NES had their chips. They had their enhancement chips.
The
Right.
mapper, the
Right.
mapper chips, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the thing, right? So it's but what about movies? Have you watched any good movies lately?
Well, I tortured Jen, and in case anyone's wondering out there, Jen is my girlfriend. Letting people know that I am seeing Jen. Yep.
It's about time. That's all I gotta say.
So I tortured her just last night watching Battlestar Galactica. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, let's hear it
Yep.
from Jen, her
Yep,
side of the
yep. She
story
put
on
up with
that
it.
one.
She's like, oh, it's great, it's great. I'm hoping she really thought that, but she had gotten
She probably drove off in her car and
a
said,
little
"That
bit.
guy's nuts."
So we were watching before that the Hunger Games. I never saw the Hunger Games.
You never
No,
saw
I was
the
never.
Hunger
I
Games.
always had food in the house.
It's a
I always had
crappy
food in the
title,
house.
but
What am I
it's a
gonna watch
good
it for?
movie. It's people that are
Yep.
hungry all the time.
Yep.
Thyroid problems,
Exactly.
folks.
So
But it's not that at all. If you relied on the title alone, it's so misleading. A spaceman from Pluto. You know what movie that was supposed to be?
I haven't even heard of it.
No, okay. Back to the Future was supposed to be called Spaceman
Really?
from Pluto. Yep. That's what some executive at what was it, Universal was like. Yeah, this should be called this, and they all went, no. Yeah. Yeah, it's on. If you watch, I've heard this story before, but if you watch the movies that made us
Right.
on Netflix, there's toys that made us and video games that made us.
I always thought our
Well,
parents
watch the
made
movies
us.
that made
but
us. The
okay.
new one,
I guess I thought my
the
I
West.
thought my parents
the
made us,
parents
but
made us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The movies that made us in the Back to the Future one, they talk about Back to the Future, and Spaceman from Pluto was the name,
Right.
and Back to the Future was the pitch name, and Steven Spielberg kind of laughed at Spaceman from Pluto, at the person that came up with that idea. So it's
I know.
pretty
I don't.
funny.
I
Some good, interesting facts. But so did you like the Hunger
Actually,
Games? Did you
I
only watch the
did.
first one?
I liked it. Peter, he was annoying me. Every time they said Peter, I would make her laugh. 'Cause I'd be saying Pete. I
You
was
were
Peter.
hungry.
Peter. I keep thinking of Griffin. Peter Griffin. Peter. Peter. Right.
Peter Griffin.
But I did like it. I like her. I know yeah.
Jennifer,
Yeah, I like
whatever
her.
her
And
last
I
name
thought
is
the
there.
story was overall very good. I thought it kind of ended a little bit weak.
That's a trilogy, right?
I was
So
actually
you know
it was
that there's
four.
something.
It was four. Yeah,
Is
they
it
broke
4
up the last
movies?
one into two parts.
Oh, that's right. That's right. There's something Mockingbird and
Yeah,
some
I think
other,
part one and
forget
part
what
two.
it
But
is.
I did enjoy it. But the repercussions of me watching that was she had to watch Battlestar Galactica, at least a pilot episode.
Oh, it's a trade
Yeah,
thing going
yeah,
on
we're,
with
we're
you
pretty
and
good with
Jennifer.
that way. She's
And folks, here we are talking about Glenn's
yep,
love
yep.
life. So Kicking it old
Yeah,
school is about everything.
Jen's down there in the comments. She's down there, and she tolerates me, which is a rare thing for people to do.
That's a
It
big
is.
deal, man. That's a big
Yep.
deal. See, I'm Canadian. I have high tolerance levels to put up with people like yourself. So, just saying. There's a dead awkward silence. That's Glenn. No, but you know what? Those movies are actually quite good. My wife loves them. I'm like, okay, ho hum. They're good. You know what I mean?
Oh.
They're
Well, you want to shock the internet right now? I've never seen Harry Potter, so that's next on the list she wants me to watch.
You never watched the
Nope.
Harry Potter
None of
series at all? They're actually quite good. And you actually see those three kids grow up on film. It's kind of freaky.
Right.
You see them as little kids in the first one, and by the time the last
They're like my
movie,
age?
they're all like, maybe not with the white beard, but no, it's yeah. You actually see them grow up in front of you, and you're like, oh my god! Like my son adores the Harry Potter stuff.
Everyone seems to like it,
Harry Potter.
but it's one of those things.
It's
There's
good.
like 75 of them. It's like, do I have time to sit down and watch all these Harry Potters?
There's not 75, but there's a few. I think it's under 10. I think.
It's like it's like Jurassic
Harry
Park.
Potter
You watch
is
one
quite
movie, it's
good.
great. Now there's like 15 of them, and they suck now.
Have you watched all of them, or
I
have you just seen?
fall asleep in them. They're just bad at this point.
I like the first two, and that's it. The first two were decent. After that, it was kind of like, hey, let's come up with another idea. We're not terribly creative, but let's come up with another idea, And it's like, that's exhausting. It's exhausting mentally, I don't know. Hollywood can't come up with great ideas and stuff. Okay, so tell me more shocking things about movies you have never seen. This is getting good here.
Well, those are the big ones. I mean, those are the big things that I haven't seen. I can happily say I didn't watch 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Darker Shades. Right.
I don't like those
So
either.
I could happily say I've never watched those. I think that's really it. Those are the ones that I know everyone likes, really talks about, that they really liked. And the Hunger Games, like I said, was pretty good. I was entertained. It wasn't like I was bored in them.
What about the Aliens?
I've seen them all. Some wish I haven't,
good
but
man.
I
Okay,
have.
I thought you were becoming an idiot there for a second.
No,
but
I've seen
you're
all
good. You're
those.
fine.
I've seen
Terminator.
again.
Even the
Wish I
shitty
didn't see
ones?
some of them, but I have. I've seen them all.
Genesis was the worst.
Yeah, I
one, in my
actually
opinion.
liked Salvation. I don't. A lot of people hate, but I really liked.
I liked
Yeah,
Salvation.
I wish they continued
it.
along. The movie studio went bankrupt. I guess that's why they didn't. But that's
they
what I
really?
wanted to see. I wanted to see the war, and I wanted to see John Connor destroy Skynet. Not want to see the same robot goes back in time to our time to save money on the budget, and have the same, like the last one was.
What was the last one called?
It was
again?
horrible.
I
Really?
didn't mind it. I thought it was interesting what they did. I didn't love it. Terminator 2 is my absolute favorite.
It
but,
really was not good. I mean, I can't say I like it. All they did was first of all they killed John Connor, and that was the whole point. John Connor was the whole point of the Resistance.
It's the whole point of these movies,
So let me get this straight.
practically.
Okay, so you did stop Skynet.
What they did
No,
in
I get it.
Game
but
of Thrones,
but you
where they
stop
kill off the important
Skynet,
folk.
and it just the same thing happens again. Are we that stupid? Like within 5 weeks of stopping Skynet, we make a virus that comes and does the same thing anyway. I mean,
They ran out of ideas.
Well,
that's what happened.
that's
They let
why-
the
Yes.
penny pinchers or the bean counters
that's
come up
why
with
they should have
ideas. And they
continued
should.
with Salvation and done it in the future war. That's what kills me. They know, like
Yeah.
Darth Vader. They know what we want to see, yet they do everything else and not show us the thing that would make them a ton of money. Which
Yeah.
I don't get it. You make me a movie based on the book Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. If you ever read that book,
yeah.
it's an audio book.
No, I haven't read
It's
the book, but I've heard
it's
bits
phenomenal.
and
It actually,
pieces, and it's,
for me, it made the prequels good because so much got explained and expanded upon in this book. And he was nuts. He was chopped people down left and right. If you made that into
you
a
know
trilogy,
what you need to see? You and I talked about this, Glenn. We need to see Darth Vader in his prime.
yes, a trilogy of him
in his
just going
prime,
nuts.
not old geezer by the time he chops
Right.
down Obi-Wan, and not when he becomes Darth Vader. We want to see him.
Yeah,
Why
I wanna
people
see
are
him
scared.
Right
that
after
main thing,
Revenge of
you
the
know?
Sith, he's in the suit. He's pissed off. He just lost his wife. His flesh is all burned. He is literally gonna Oh, you got a headache?
I'm thinking a
Oh,
few
General
years after
Grievous.
that,
You have a headache? Okay, here's a headache. You know, that's what I want to see. Him just
Yep.
going, oh, you got a hangnail? I want to see that Darth Vader. And everyone wants to see that Darth Vader. And Disney would make more money than God doing that, and yet they're not doing
Oh
it.
yeah. Giving it like Darth Vader, like when you think about between episode 3 and 4, I think a 20-year
Correct. There's a lot of
gap
stuff
there.
in there.
So there's exactly like Darth Vader will fear in 20 years, let's say. So apparently Darth Vader has the power to take down an AT-AT walker with the Force.
Which you never see.
Whatever
You
crush.
never see that.
You never see. And I would have loved to have seen something like that in Rogue One.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know, Rogue One, he was kind of like a
He
second
was.
thought, and I was like,
He
oh.
was.
And the Emperor too. The Emperor, let's see what he can do when he's
Right.
really angry, because we just see him, this frail little old man, and lightning coming out of his hands when he's a little angry, and you're like, okay, great, but I want to see some butt
and
kicking.
Rogue One was like out of
stuff
all the
that,
Disney
you know.
films that they did with Star Wars, Rogue One is by far my favorite. But that Vader scene at the end was literally thrown in like at the last minute. It wasn't even in there at all. And they're like,
It was the best part.
best
of the
part
whole
of the movie, and it wasn't long enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it needed to be more epic though. That little
Right.
hallway thing I thought was
Yep.
it was cool, but it was
Yep.
weak in a sense. It needed to be on a grander
He should have been on the
scale.
planet.
Why people
He should have been on the
fear
planet
him.
first, going down
That's-
there and like cutting people down. Maybe they stole an ATST and he was, chopping that thing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, they should have done something like that, because they have to. Right now, they've never established why people are scared of that guy. We were scared as kids, oh, the guy in the dark mask and whatever. But in the movie, they could have totally like taken advantage of going, oh, this is why people
Yep.
are running for the hills
Yep.
and scared and all that stuff. They never
Yep.
really showed that, which I think is a missed opportunity by Disney / Lucasfilm. And
I will say that
and all
like
that
in,
stuff,
in
I think.
Rebels, the animated show, you kind of saw a little glimpse of that.
yes,
Yeah,
you saw
especially
more
when
there.
he fought Ahsoka. That was still my favorite scene of all time. Is him
Yes.
battling
Yep.
her and how that she cut the mask and he's talking to her and he's like, you know what, I'm still going to chop you up. So that's what you wanted to see.
Yeah. He's dark.
He's gone. And then in the final episode of, and if it's a spoiler, so if you guys have not seen it by now, I'm sorry, but you should have seen it. At the end of the Clone Wars series, Ahsoka, she disappears and Vader just walks in that last scene, and he picks up her saber out of the snow. That was
Yep.
powerful. I can watch that 1,000 times over. It was just a very powerful scene, like Luke coming in the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah. It's
Powerful.
great. Yep. Oh, I can't wait for season 3 of Mandalorian. That's the show that
Yeah,
saved
I wonder
Star
if someone's
Wars,
going to
in my
make
opinion.
a comeback in that. What do you think?
Oh yeah. There's rumors.
What rumors have you
Our good old
heard?
buddy?
About Mandalorian.
And not Victor Van Dooncock or whatever, whatever his name is. He's hinting that Gina Carano is making a comeback. They're setting up to do an announcement.
So,
or whatever.
in the
I don't know
chat,
what's
people are
going
in
on.
here. A 1, if you think Gina Carano is going to come back to The Mandalorian, or 0, she's not. Let's just see what some people say.
Or -1 if you have no idea who
come
Gina
on.
Carano is.
How could they be on this watching our show and not know?
I could just see Glenn start kicking people. You don't know who Gina
I'm taking my
Carano is.
saber,
Kick.
start chopping down. We're seeing a bunch of ones. Hollywood, Bobby, Brian are giving 1 so far.
So 1 is
She's coming back.
she's
yes.
coming back, right? Okay.
Al's a 1, so we're seeing all 1s. I think she is 2. Now, she did a tweet. She did a tweet the other day.
They got a bunch of begging
Yeah,
to do,
she
man.
actually
They
posted
got
a
bunch
tweet
of begging.
saying it's a little too late for begging. So,
Oh no, not if
Well,
the
that's
right
the
amount
thing.
of money is flashed
to
in
me,
front of
that's
your
a
face.
ploy. That's telling Disney, yeah, it's too late, man. You start dumping her with the cash. Eventually, that number will hit the right spot and she'll be back. But I don't think she will come back until Kathleen Kennedy has been gone. Right.
Bye-bye. Yep.
So that might be a thing.
Yeah, that's in October apparently, when her contract's up or something. If they renew her, they're
If they
super
renew
duper
her,
gonna
I'll tell you
fuck.
right now, Star Wars,
the death of
Indiana
Star Wars.
Jones, all those properties will be dead to me. I'm not kidding. It's
Yep.
just done. It really is. Because,
See Brian from Brian's Man Cave.
hey, Brian, buddy, how you doing?
I had Disney Plus.
He's a fellow Canadian, you know.
Hey, I love the progress you're doing on your space taxi game. My favorite game on the Commodore 64. Just saying.
He's been working out pretty good and doing some coding, Brian. I had no idea you can
Yeah,
code.
I think he's using the
Yes.
IntelliBasic from Oscar
Yes.
Toledo. I have to. I just don't have a cartridge. Well, I guess you can test your stuff with emulators,
We
but
both missed
yeah,
out on getting the
it's.
LTO flash. We need to.
Yeah.
We need to
I don't have money every time the damn thing
look.
comes
There's
about.
food
That's
and
my
there's stuff you
problem.
need. So you obviously made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. I got the priorities a little mixed up. I got a truck to pay for
That's
now,
right.
and
That's right. And I guess in Canada you need to have. You didn't get two-wheel drive, right? You actually got four-wheel drive, right? You're in Canada.
it's 4-wheel drive, a nice 2021 Toyota Tacoma. Love it. Best truck ever. So it's but yeah, I don't know. The Star Wars, if that woman comes back, I don't think she is going to come back, to be honest with you, because the internet hates her guts beyond belief. So I think if I don't, I I would have to say they're oblivious if she does come back, like Kathleen Kennedy, not
Right.
Gina Carano. Carano, well, I
Me
hope she
too.
does come back. She had a nice charisma about her in the show, and she can kick all our
Yep.
asses in real
And
life.
we'd let her.
So
I'd let her.
yeah, exactly. The LTO flash
Yep.
cards hard to get. They
They
sell
do.
out fast. You know what? I wish these guys would sell more of these things, or just hand them over to the Chinese and they just crank
Well,
them
someone
out.
else will make one as
You know?
well. I mean, the LTO. We were talking about there was another guy who was making one like 5 years ago.
Yeah, there was a guy making one with an SD card. The LTO doesn't have an SD card, but you can fit the entire library on a
Right.
piece of flash. Excuse me, a piece of flash memory. But the guy was making it with a micro SD
Right.
card a few years back, and the whole project just fizzled and died, it seemed.
It'll come back
So
again.
it was
The
like, okay.
Intellivision is a platform that it needs that type of capability. Not so much to play, bootleg games, but to play
Yeah.
homebrews. I mean, there's some people who made some pretty good homebrews or hardware hacks that I would like to play on original hardware.
Well, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, he made
He
Keystone
did.
Capers, a clone
Yep.
slash whatever. I haven't tried it yet because I don't have I've only
Right.
tried an emulation or on my Mr. FPGA. But I don't know if he produced cartridges or not. If Brian, take the time, Brian, to promote
Yeah,
your game,
Brian.
and if it's available on cartridge or something or whatever. But
Uh,
my Mr.
More
FPGA,
so, people don't know. Brian from Brian
love to try it
Manscaped
there.
has a YouTube channel as well. So
He's a fellow Canadian,
Another
lives in the
Canadian.
Toronto area.
All these Canadians.
Yep.
You and your metrics.
Yep.
I bet he programmed in metric too, didn't he?
Yeah, totally. You got to get with the program, Glenn. This Imperial stuff that you guys are doing. Imperial, sounds like
That's exactly
Darth
right. So
Vader,
I don't even know
Imperial,
why.
you know,
I don't
just
even know why
saying.
we have a board with you guys. We are such a friendly two countries. Why don't we just you give us the free medical, we'll give you our taxes. It's a win-win.
Yeah, you keep your taxes, your IRS.
Hey, but
No
we
thanks.
would raise the Canadian dollar a little bit. Won't cost you $1,000
You know
for
what?
Arcade
At
One Up.
one time, when was it? Apparently, the Canadian dollar passed the U.S. dollar at one time. Long time ago, but it happened a while back. I don't know when exactly, but yeah. So I'm just
Yeah, we
reading
got a
some of the
bunch coming through
comments. Half Canadian, dual citizenship, -1.
Oh, does that really? Okay.
Okay.
You must be living in that town where like the road goes right down the middle, and the left side is Canada, and the right side is U.S.
He's a half breed.
Good to see you, -1. -1.
I-
He knows a lot too. He writes a lot of comments in my videos, and he's got a lot of information in
Okay,
there. He's a
cool.
smart guy.
How many people we got in the chat? I can't see the
We're
number.
we're
Can
stoked at a lot.
You? Oh,
We have a
don't give me
lot.
that.
They're-
Rounded off.
It's basically so
bureaucratic
many.
number
The
thing.
the namings have to scroll. It's
I
got to
can't count
scroll.
that high.
Maybe that's
Right.
why it's scrolling by. With so many in here, it's got to scroll.
It's scrolling so fast.
That's
I
exactly
can't
right.
keep up. Yeah. So no, but I like to see like people like Brian. He has a
He
good
does.
YouTube channel. I'm subscribed. I'm totally
same here.
legitimately subscribed, and I watch.
And he's just a good guy.
His,
I mean,
his
he's a
happening.
Canadian. I don't know any Canadian who's an a-hole.
We're so
Yeah, none
friendly
of you-
here. Just don't piss us
I
off.
never
and
seen.
we're
I
good.
never saw a
It's
pissed off
all-
Canadian. I have to admit.
He should try his hand at making a ColecoVision game, but then he'd have to learn assembly language, and I don't know. That's not for the faint of heart.
Well, Millie over. I can't think of his YouTube channel. But he goes by 8-Bit Millie now. He's making
8-Bit
the
Millie,
Crazy
yeah.
Climber. It's coming along pretty well.
That's your favorite game.
It is. I
That's
love
good.
Crazy
That's up your alley.
Climber. I may get back into programming my TI. I had done a Donkey Kong clone, and it came out like almost, I won't say pixel perfect, because the TI and the ColecoVision couldn't do really pixel perfect for the arcade game, but it looked pretty good. The levels that I had done, but I had disk rot. So when I went to load the game like a few years ago, half the code was gone. I got some, but I might go back and do it again, just to kind of unstupefy my brain. The one weird part I never figured out, though, was my joystick routine. So when you'd go right, he'd go right. You go left, he's still going right. Now he goes left. Then you go left, he turn it to right, he goes right.
That's a slight bug there, Glenn.
Well,
That's what they
I
call
thought
a
of it
bug
more. I thought more of Kung Fu Donkey Kong, like with speech. Yeah,
Kung
the
Fu
speech was
Donkey
off,
Kong.
my controls
Okay, sure.
were off.
That could be a thing. That could be a thing.
I think I needed to use more Go subs, and my code was not probably the most optimized, and it was basic. I was using it literally in basic.
Yeah, basic runs nice
and the
and slow.
TI, it's like really slow. I mean, it's like the slowest. Yeah.
Oh, did it? 64 was that bad too. That's what I grew
Well,
up
the
on.
thing
so
is that the TI 9948 was the world's first 16-bit computer, and it was actually a mini computer processor. The problem was they slapped it into an 8-bit bus, and there was so much glue logic and translation, and the basic didn't translate. It was you can do 2 + 2 = 4 by paper faster than the computer would have came up with the answer. That's how slow the damn thing was.
Is that an airplane at your place?
You can hear it. Yes, I am. No,
Or
that
is
is
that
here.
here?
I don't live far from an airport.
They're spraying that stuff down that rots your brain, and in 10 years you become a zombie. You know that, right? They're doing the spray stuff, the vapor trail.
I sniffed that in the
whatever.
morning. It's like napalm for me.
Oh, okay. Just check it to see if your daily dose of inhaling that stuff. Just saying.
So good. I got to tell you though, it is an absolute beautiful night. You can't tell because I'm on the grid here.
Well, you were thinking of going into your house because it was going to
it
storm,
didn't.
but
And
it's
actually,
good now?
what Jenn said it was raining over there, and she's only about 10 minutes away.
Oh,
So she's actually my early forecaster, to be quite honest. She'll be like, "Oh, it's downpouring or it's sunny." I'm like, "It's raining here." Then, boop, it stops.
it's like Canadian weather. The afternoon it's sunny, and in the morning it's snowing and rain in the evening, and it just cycles through all the seasons in a day. Happens here.
It was funny
All
when
the
you told
time.
me it was hot out. Now, if you're in Canada, I'm like, "What do you consider hot?"
Well, I told you. What was it?
It was
again,
like
the
you said it was like
conversion?
78. Yeah,
78
Fahrenheit. For us
degrees.
Americans,
So
because
is
that's
it-
what
do
the
you
world should be
consider
using
that
is
hot, or are
Fahrenheit.
you
Okay.
like, that's not.
America
20 it's
rules
right-
it.
I live in a remote town up north, and 26 degrees Celsius here. That's freaking hot. But yeah,
26
but
degrees
78
for us
degrees,
is
you consider that
absolutely
hot?
freezing.
you call that freezing?
No,
78
26
degrees.
degrees.
Oh, it's 26
You're
degrees.
you're an
that'll
American
froze your-
broadcaster, my friend. You got to talk in all Fahrenheit and feet and miles. Okay, you're on.
Do I have to speak
Yes,
in Pig
you're
Latin
on an
too,
American
or-
broadcast right now, my friend.
Oh man! Watch all the Canadians leave. Just
You got to realize
Chat.
we've already destroyed a $500 million Mars probe because it was translated wrong from kilometers to feet or whatever, and it just burned up in the atmosphere. So we can't have that on our show. We got to make sure. Yeah,
that what
there was
happened?
I forgot which Mars probe it was. It was a $500 million and they did.
Didn't they fix the one recently?
Well, they did, but
out
this
in
one was going into
space or
orbit.
whatever?
And obviously scientists are using kilometers and meters, but the original guy working on it did it in feet. So they put that code in, and the thing went right into Mars, and it just burned up. It was done.
That's why you guys need to go with the rest of the planet, because they essentially have
We are
a
not
bunch
the
of
Borg.
engineers working on this. and
America
the
is not
American
the
steps
Borg.
in going,
We're not going to be
what the hell is this?"
assimilated by the rest of this planet. We are going to stand by feet and miles, and that's what we're going to do. They tried, though.
You'd have to change all the
I
road
remember.
signs.
I do
all
remember
that
as a
stuff.
kid, they tried. It was like I had to be like 1977, 78 on there, and they tried,
Yeah.
and it just did not work. I mean, none of, nope. And after
That
3
ain't
years,
happening, I guess.
yeah,
much
after 3
resistance.
years, they just dropped it. They're like, okay, we're not gonna do that.
Oh, that's funny. So are we done? How long
Well,
did we
the show
last the show?
technically,
Are
this is our first
we
time with Kickin' Old School, and we have a good rapport here in the group. We can go an hour and a half. It's going to be normally an hour show. Um,
okay? What I still have to do is an
he
intro and a new
does.
logo. That logo there is not what it's gonna be down the road, but
See, Linux lovers agreeing
essentially,
with me, just so you
I
know.
got it for what?
America, man, we ain't bowing to this world, man. We're staying strong.
Okay, sure.
That's
Resistance is futile. So, but I still got to do a logo. I still have to
yep,
do the intro
yep.
and
You're busy.
add maybe some toys in the background, posters, something like that. But keep the chat area,
Yep.
basically where it is. That turned out pretty good. The
It
graphics,
did.
so
It
that's
did. It
good.
came out
So,
pretty good. He actually had another one too, but I like this one, the wood. Actually, I might have put on the wrong one. Was this the one with the darker wood? Because you had. Okay,
yes, the other one was more
gotcha.
of a gray wood, more
Yeah,
of
it's too much of a
gray
downer
paneling.
gray. We're upbeat channel.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I'm hoping everybody likes this show that Glenn and I are doing. It's basically, two old bastards shooting the shit.
And that was almost the name of the
basically.
show. Two grumpy old men.
Yeah. Grumpy
Yeah,
old retro
so,
guys or something.
but Jenn
or
came out
whatever.
Kicking Old School, and I think that that's a little more on the general public side. I think
General.
it's a little bit better.
Well, the thing is, we're not going to just talk
No.
about video games. That's how Glenn and I cross paths, is through the ColecoVision
Yep.
community, we'll call it. But we just talk about all kinds of stuff. Our kids used to play Minecraft together. They've done the teenager separate ways things now,
They'll
which
come
is
back.
fine.
They always come back.
They'll come back for sure, and you know what I mean. And I play modern games, and
Nope.
Glenn doesn't.
He
and
tries though. It's like, Glenn, you got to play this
that's just
game.
the American. It's the American imperial system thing. They don't make imperial games no more. They make them in metric. Everything's in. Anyways, I'm not making any sense.
You leave sense
So-
at the door when you come on our show. There is no sense here.
Yeah, exactly. What's the imperial thing for cents and dollars? Is there a conversion for that, or?
Well, you guys still call it dollars
No.
and cents up there, don't you? You have a different name, do you?
Yeah, it's
No,
not.
we don't call it pounds. It's not pounds or
British
peas
pound.
or
no. It's
yeah, or
still
francs.
dollars and
Well,
cents.
you have French. Is there francs up there? Because you have French Canadians. You still
No.
dollars?
No, there's no French. We're a British. What is it? Monarchy? Not monarchy. What is it? What do they call it? It's like Australia. We're part of the
Empire.
British monarch empire or whatever.
Maybe,
I forget what it is. And we go to the post office.
maybe
and there's a
you know what?
picture
I
of
might have to
Queen
talk to the
Elizabeth
president.
there.
Maybe the reason why you were so nice to us because you are still with the old empire is still trying to get information on us to take us over again. Because it's not like England hasn't tried a couple of times before. Yeah,
Did
the War of 1812, man. You came and burned down the White House.
And now you've got King, what's his face, Prince Harry living there with his
I'm telling you, I
American wife,
think
and
this.
they're
I
slowly
think that's the
sneaking in
opportunity.
there.
How many Canadians are here? There's more Canadians than Americans now.
Well,
All
I don't know about that
all over
ratio,
TV, all over the YouTube. I don't know.
Well, you guys, like, what is it? Michael
Yeah.
J. Fox,
Yep.
Jim Carrey,
Yep.
all Canadians that
Hey,
make it big
Schitt's
down
Creek.
there. You guys
I
recognize
love Schitt's
talent.
Creek.
We
That's
don't.
all Canadian. That's Canadian broadcasting over there. That's a great show.
Yeah, Corner Gas, Red Green Show.
Never
Ever
heard of
watch
that
those
one.
ones?
No,
Red Green.
no.
The Red Green Show. Oh, you got to watch that one day. You'll like it. Well, maybe the humor's a little dated. I guess those. Do you watch Rick and Morty?
Do I watch?
Glenn?
Do I breathe? I love Rick and
Okay,
Morty.
good.
Although I'm 2 episodes
Oh, I love
behind.
that show. Did you watch the new ones?
I'm
The-
only
the-
seeing
the-
up to
the-
episode 4 of season 5.
which is season 5
Current
is this,
season, yep.
this year, right? Yeah. I love that show. I think Rick
Oh, it's
is
fantastic.
awesome.
The last one I saw was Morty. His girlfriend was the female version of Captain Planet.
Oh, okay, no, I saw the one where the kid Morty, he had sex with the horse.
Nope.
Thing.
Don't give that the spoiler. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh no, okay, that's fine. Watch that one. It's hilarious. It's basically okay. Do you remember the episode in the past seasons where he has sex with a robot?
Oh yeah, I got that from
Morty.
that alien planet. Yes.
Up in the
yes.
bedroom upstairs. Well, that kid has flaring hormones, we'll call it. And his, you know that his mother works at as a vet,
A
right?
horse vet. She's a horse vet.
That's right. Well, there's a machine there to,
Oh, get the stud
to
juice.
ex. That's right. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a hilarious episode. It's done in Rick and Morty style. It's awesome. It's great. If anybody in the chat has
Oh, you
never
got to
watched
watch
Rick and Morty, do yourself a favor, watch it. If you can, grab the episodes without the
Yeah,
beeping of
you
the
need
curse
that.
words.
I think of it
You
as
need it,
like an uncensored Futurama because it's actually pretty smart.
or Simpsons
Yeah, I
to some
suppose
level.
like a mixture
in
of
a
the
sense.
two.
There's a bit of, it's very raw, but it's
Maybe a little
hilarious.
South Park
Like
thrown in.
it's, well, you watched, I think, what was it, the first episode where they thought they were clones of the clones and the clones, and they were like, "Oh, this is the
Right, they're
backup
killing each other, and you
40."
think
Oh, it
finally
was
the
this
right one
endless
got
cycle
killed, and you
of,
find out nope, that was another one entirely.
yeah, yeah. That's a great show. I think that's probably the best TV right now, as far as modern but to me, it's the new South
Yeah,
Park.
I haven't
Rick
watched
and
South
Morty.
Park in a few years, to be quite honest.
South Park, it's the same stuff, but I find Rick and Morty a
Yeah,
bit more clever. I find that South Park is a little overdone now in a sense. I mean, they're up to so many seasons now. I
22. Well,
forget how many,
The
but
Simpsons are well beyond that.
yeah, they're in their 26th season or 27. I forget the number for The Simpsons. It's pretty high. But Rick and Morty, they took it off the air. They just, oh,
Well,
anyways. Oh yeah, Brad. My favorite episode is Tiny Rick. Oh, that to me, I was pissing myself laughing. It was so funny. He's in high school and he's a small version of Rick, and he's like Tiny Rick. Oh, it's
I always
hilarious.
like the
Anyways,
Citadel episode. That's the
I
one where
forget that one.
the fly creatures are trying to get the technology out of his brain, and then
Oh yeah.
and then he's like he takes over the whole thing. He's like, wait, it's a trap! It's a trap! We never left the room! And great
Yeah.
show.
Brand Man Cave. He's talking about Family Guy. Yes, Family Guy is cool. I just found Family Guy
Yeah,
tiring after a while. Rick and Morty is the new
Family Guy. I
crack
used to watch
of.
religiously as well, and then I just fell out of it. It just kind of got stale, honestly.
Yeah, I like the flashbacks in
Right.
Family Guy the most, where they took the station wagon and they had a Dukes of Hazzard flashback where it was Waylon Jennings talking, and they had the station wagon jumping and pausing. You know how in Dukes of Hazzard the clip would pause when the car was jumping. Well, they did the same thing in Family Guy. It was hilarious. He had the station wagon, and then it paused, and then you had the Waylon Jennings commentary interlude thing going on or whatever.
Actually, I
Oh,
want to
it's
say
funny
also
as
hi
hell.
to Rexer. Rexer joined us here from the Rexer Show. Again, so we have
Yep, I'll have to watch some. There's so many shows
good
that are out
stuff.
there that are
I
good.
mean, Rexer, with
Uh,
his
it,
stuff, I
it's
mean, it's high quality. It really is high quality stuff.
you know what I'm trying to stay away from, and this is no offense to people in that community. And Glenn,
Oh,
you're part of that
watch
community.
it.
Is the arcade one-up community? There's so much stuff that's bad out there, and there's a lot of it that's good. But the arcade one-up stuff, it's almost like somebody got on. They all got on this bandwagon. Not everybody. There's legitimate arcade one-up channels that I like, but there's some that you're just clicking through these people, and you're like, you got nothing to offer. You're just regurgitating.
That could be anywhere, though.
And I don't
I
like
mean, that
channels
happens
like
with anything.
Oh yeah, that exists everywhere. I'm just saying from the interest that I have with arcade and games and that sort of thing. I just find, I'm not saying that community
No,
sucks or anything
better
like that.
not.
There's
Better
like every other
not,
channel.
man.
There's garbage out there.
But now that you
No,
now
no,
that you
it's
actually
not that.
mentioned
That's not
that,
what I meant.
I actually did some testing on one of the partycades, an older partycade, and my spinner doesn't work left, and it only turns right. And I think we found the reason for that. So if anyone's watching was interested in that, we're hoping to put a fix for the spinner. Um,
Is it a
no,
driver
it's
thing, or is it more of the
it's
spinner
weird
itself?
because on the 8-in-1 partycade, they have their spinner in there. If I put my trackball on it, left and right works perfect with the
Yeah.
trackball. It works perfectly. But if I put my spinner on there, my spinner only works one direction, not the other. So we're thinking it might be the protocol that we're using to sync up with it. So we
maybe.
think we could fix it, and it shouldn't be too hard. But now there's another version of the party key that uses, I think, 6 wires. So we're still working on it. We just have so many projects going on right now. I mean, we have so much stuff behind the scene I still can't talk to guys about yet. So many partnerships. And I'm going to say it's true. We actually have partnerships with a few people. I'm hoping I can make an announcement on one of these partners soon. But that'll be a huge, huge deal for me and what we're doing.
Cool. Can't wait to see
So
it.
that's a little, maybe a little teaser right there on that one.
What I'm getting at is I like variety in my programming. Like if it's your channel's just about one thing, I tend to unsubscribe. I like a bit of everything. You know what I mean? Like if it's video game related, keep it all video game related, but just don't stick to one product is what I'm trying to say, right? So it's that I see channels, it's just Arcade 1-Up. Well, there's other stuff out there.
Well, you got to also think, too, that, right now, they are the Atari of them right now. They're the biggest one.
Of course.
You're guaranteed views.
Yep. Of course. It's just that, I don't know. I'm a believer in making a channel about the person, the host, and what they like. That's why I like Brian's Man Cave. He talks about the stuff he likes, whether it's programming a game, whether it's his beloved in television, all the way to whatever. I like that. I don't like just the same
and
stuff.
like me, he's
That's
been doing it for a long
thing.
time. Brian's been on for quite some time.
I'm a relatively new, to him, it's only been about a year that I discovered him and stuff like that. And I forget why I subscribed to him. I forgot what it was. He was talking about, it's the Commodore 64 content. I grew up on it, so I was watching him play these Commodore 64 games on his channel. That's why I subscribed to it. So, and then the next week it would be the Intellivision and something else. And that's what I like, like your channel when you and I met. You had some ColecoVision stuff and a little bit Amiga stuff. And
yeah, wait till we get into that. We're not going to do that
Just
today.
different
Maybe
stuff.
next week we'll get into, the Commodore 64 and the Amiga, because that we could.
The Amiga. We'll talk Commodore next time.
Yeah, we could definitely do a whole
that.
episode, actually multiple episodes.
Oh yeah, the
on that.
Commodore thing could go on for weeks.
We actually were going to talk. We
Well,
were
you
going to talk
talked
a little bit
about-
about it, but we're going too long. We're not going to touch on the Amiga tonight.
We're talking about the Pi Storm, but we'll save the Pi Storm talk for later, for sure. But I love this show. I hope you guys love it too, because as you can see, I'm a bit of a noob. I'm not a veteran like Glenn here as far as YouTube celebrity.
Celebrity?
But,
More like
I like
celery.
it. Celery, sure.
You can take you
See,
put me in the mouth and take a
that's
chew, and you
the
go,
reason
"What
Jennifer's
the hell is this?"
going out
It's
with
celery,
you
and you
for
spit it
celebrity
out.
Status on YouTube. Jennifer's going out with you because you're a YouTube celebrity.
I'm not a YouTube celebrity. I'm not. No, I just
You are.
I throw my face out
deal.
everywhere. It doesn't mean I'm a celebrity. Cool Toy, Wreck-It Ralph, Michael B. the Game Genie, Rexer. Those are the celebrities. Brian the Man Cave, he's programming his own games.
Wreck-It Ralph, is it?
Retro Ralph. Yeah,
Or whatever
although
his name-
he did say he only started his channel because of watching me. P-Dub's Arcade Loft, another one who's out there.
See, like you're a
Nostalgia.
pioneer, Glenn. That's what it is.
I mean, for me, nostalgia is so big. He's able to love Kathleen Kennedy the way he does, and he still has people subscribe to his channel. So that's a celebrity when you could do something like that. Nostalgia, take my hat off to him. I do.
Good God, I need to have words with that guy about that woman. And say, hey, you gotta spread your horizon. There's different people out there.
There's
than
actual
this
people,
woman.
not devil
yeah.
worshipping,
Robot.
demons.
She's a robot, for sure.
All right, we're gonna.
OG. No offense to that's right. Glenn started off in the beginning, so it's I remember with the shaky camera, taking apart his ColecoVision, trying to troubleshoot the F-18A.
What a pain that was.
Pulling his hair out, that sort of thing, and
I love that. And that's a shame that you
That's-
can't get that anymore right now. The F-18A. If people don't know what that is, it's a replacement board for the TMS 990 video chip that the TI 994A computer used, ColecoVision used, MSX computers, the Atom. And it will give you VGA out.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
and he was working on
It
HDMI.
was,
out
and
too,
actually,
wasn't he?
the one I got, it's bigger than the actual chip. So he actually made one where it's the exact size of the chip and HDMI out, but you can't get them anymore.
Gotcha.
And it is such a, when you go from, the composite out or RF out, really, that the ColecoVision really had. The Atom had composite out.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful display. My TI, I mean, it blows me away when I play on that.
Oh, it's great. I have one and it's phenomenal. Like you didn't think the Coleco can pop out
Right.
something that beautiful, honestly. You know, I wonder if there's a composite mod for the
There
Intellivision.
is. It's actually not too difficult, if I'm not mistaken. I actually, Brian, I think did it. Brian, if you're still in the chat, didn't you do a composite video out?
I have it in Intellivision 2, not a. And there's Jason Saber Gaming. Go check out his channel. He does a lot of survival gaming.
He must play a lot of
video
dating
footage.
apps.
Survival, yeah. You go to the Starbucks and you wait patiently with your drink. No, he plays a lot of the Infected. And
Those are
stuff
my
like
kind of
that.
games.
Go
See,
check it out.
those games I could play, but they just get so complicated now. I mean, I just can't keep it all in my head. I need the simple.
I'm playing Valheim and it's crack. Basically, it's crack for me right now. I'm embarrassed at this point. I think I got like 500 hours into that game.
See, I don't have that kind of time.
It's sad.
I just don't have that kind of time.
I don't either, but I'm just addicted. I'm going to be going to therapy and hi, my name is Stephen. I have an addiction, you know. So, but if Brian is still in the chat, at least
We'll wait.
Shed
We're
some light
gonna
on.
stay 5 more minutes. 7:30 we'll end the stream. So if Brian is here, he can let us know if we did the composite mod to which of his Intellivisions. I know he did it. I assumed it was on the original, because why would you want anything else but the original? Just saying.
I don't have an original. I could only find a 2. And little did I know that Coleco games didn't even work.
I thought it
in
did,
the
but not ColecoVision, the Atari adapter. They had the Atari adapter for it.
Yeah, apparently, if you get a Donkey Kong,
Oh yes,
the Coleco Donkey Kong for the Intellivision, it doesn't work on the Intellivision 2, and I had
I
no
think it's
idea.
just a BIOS swap. It's the BIOS is blocking it.
So if you swap the BIOS in the Intellivision,
I'm pretty sure we'll have to research that a little bit. Maybe we should do that. But my understanding was just
Yeah,
like what
let me
TI
know.
did and those other companies did, Sega did. They
Oh, some did. Okay, Brian's saying that some Coleco
Yeah,
games work
I
on the
think it's the
Intellivision
BIOS.
too. Well, Donkey Kong that I have doesn't work. I thought the Donkey Kong cart was broken, but I don't have anybody else that has an
try it.
Intellivision to test it. So it's like I ask people, "Do you have an Intellivision to test?" They're like, "What's that? What's an Intellivision? I don't know what that is." So I'm like, "Okay, so my Intellivision testing crew is, probably Brian's the closest person that has an Intellivision." Like,
and how many hours away would he be? Like 12.
I think he's in the Toronto area, so he's about 8-hour drive
that's
away.
a long ride.
It's about 800 kilometers, which turns into about 600 miles. I think somewhere around
That's a
there.
lot.
Yep.
You could always
So,
mail
yeah.
it to him. I mean, you could try it and you can mail it back. Just some American ingenuity
Yeah,
out
it
there
costs
for you.
more than the game itself, sure. Paid only at $2 for the game. Then the game becomes a $15-$30 game or whatever. By
Now,
the
do you
time
guys
it's
still have your
back and
Mounties
forth.
up there? There's still Mounties up there?
The RCMP, the Royal Canadian
Yeah.
Mounted Police. So it's we do, but not where I live.
Is anyone named Dudley?
Uh,
Do they have any Dudley do-rights?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not into that higher up police force stuff, you know.
Well,
Especially
are
on
they
a
like
horse.
England, where they don't carry like a firearm, or do they carry a firearm?
They don't actually wear that red suit
Oh.
around or anything. They just they wear it occasionally. These people are the people that bust the
Gotcha.
drug dealers.
My
and
my stereotype
they-
is
they're
being
not like
wrong.
there's that. It's not that. But if you were legit, it's basically like you guys is FBI / the narcotics division that bust the drug folks there, whatever. So yeah, interesting stuff to say the least. So
We
So
are
do you
going to
wanna
wrap
wrap
it
it
up.
up, or
So
what do you wanna do?
we still haven't set a time. Like right now, we're filling in any time the Retro Buzz is not on. We'll definitely come on. But I think we might be more about. I don't know. Are we doing like want to do a Sunday thing or during the week thing? Well, we still discuss it. We don't know. We got to figure it out.
I don't know. It's I don't care, to be honest with you. And I could talk about it on the side, whatever. But yeah.
Well,
I'm
what
up
time?
for
What time was
whatever.
that porn channel on in Canada that you used to watch as a kid? What time was that on? Maybe we'll do
2
2
a.m..
We'll do that.
We'll do 2 a.m. and we'll tune in to see if we can catch some live stream action or whatever. But you ask any French Canadian, even if they weren't French Canadian, there was some guys at the English school that were like, "Hey, did you see this blue nuit thing?" They couldn't even pronounce it. It was funny as hell. They were like, "There's porn on there, man." It was funny.
The good old days. See,
The
wasn't
good
it
old
better when
days
you
for the
found it
people.
that way?
See, ask
Was
Saber
it better when?
Gaming. If you ask Saber Gaming, he'll know what
Well,
blue
it's just like
nuit is.
those are things you discovered as a kid. Now you just go on the internet. Everything's there. Everything's there. There's no discovery. There's no figuring things out. But that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we're going to do.
Everything's on a silver
That's what we're going to
platter.
do. So again, Stephen, thanks for joining. Thanks for creating the backgrounds here. We'll still figure out how it goes. Thanks, Jenn, for our new name, Kicking It Old
Yes.
School.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And until we come back
Yippers.
on again, keep it real and kick it old school, my friends.
Good night, guys.
At the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.